If you ever wondered how to create and develop the type of charisma that radiates from within, well, you clicked on the right video, ladies and gentlemen. Or if you ever wondered how to develop a type of charisma that maybe you're not the most charismatic, maybe you're a shy person, but if you ever want to create the impression of charisma, I call it the outer form of charisma, then you clicked on the right video, because this video is part of my course, the Charisma Blueprint, where I teach you how to develop inner charisma and outer forms of charisma. It's a course that I created and recorded in London. It took me about a year of worth of research, but I believe this course, if you just watch this video, and then if you actually purchase the course, you'll be known as somebody who's charismatic. I'm not even kidding with you. Like, you will have some form of charisma. No matter how born you are, no matter your age, no matter what you do, if you just do what you're about to see in this video, you will be able to radiate some form of charisma. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to pre-order my course, Charisma Blueprint, click on the description down below where it says pre-order Charisma Blueprint. It's going to be $99 when it comes out. So you can pre-order it right now at the discounted rate of $59.99, okay? Plenty of people paid hundreds of dollars to attend this seminar. They traveled a bunch of places. They flew planes to come and see it. And you guys will be able to have access to it in your home at a more affordable price. Anyways, I'll see you guys inside. You guys, a lot of you guys will listen to what I said yesterday. And I'm not gonna lie, what I said yesterday is pretty much a big, I went home yesterday, I'm like, that sounded like PR. Like, I swear to God, it's just, because I remember taking PR many years ago, and it's just a lot of the things was public relations. And I talked to a buddy of mine about public relations. I called him, and yeah, he said the same thing. I was like, yeah, this is pretty much what we teach to people who are building up an image, to musicians, to actors, to do this. What you dress, what you color, the symbols you surround yourself with, the look that you have, is all fabricated, right? And that's why a lot of these celebrities, there's a chasm between how they appear on camera and on the TV shows versus how they are in long form conversation, right? I bet a lot of us who knew Elon Musk, we thought of him differently as opposed to when we saw him on the Joe Rogan show. If anybody saw him, he's very awkward the way he talks, right? You wouldn't expect him to be so just a weird way of talking, but that's because that's his personality in real life. But what we see in our mind is the image of Elon Musk, right? So what we talked about yesterday is about image creation. And the issue with that is that at a distance is perfect, right? At a distance, if you're able to maintain distance between you and the person whom you're projecting these things to, it works, right? Which is usually in work situation. It's usually when you're trying to gain a promotion. It's usually when you're like in a neighborhood and you have your neighbors and you want to, give a good image to the people around you, to not have a bad reputation. You're not trying to gain anything from them, but at the same time, you don't want to look like a bad person, right? Or when you're trying to gain alliances, maybe at an organization, or when you're trying to get elected, maybe you want to be the pastor of a church, or maybe you want to be elected to this position or that position. All of these things are important in life. I don't care what you say. And this type of charisma that we talked about yesterday is the public charisma. It's a type of charisma that we need in society. It's a mask. At the end of the day, it's a mask. It's not you, right? And this mask is just like any mask. You put it on and you put it off. And a lot of politicians, when they're around their friends, they're completely different. They have completely different rules for themselves. But in the public world, they put on another face, which is usually of higher morality, right? Which is usually a little hypocritical, right? And that's because they're playing an image. And it kind of shows you why politicians are so hypocritical. That's because that's part of the game. It's because they never really show you who they are. And eventually, the difference between their personality and what they portray is going to be revealed, and they're going to look hypocritical. But in order to be in that position, unfortunately, you have to play that game. It's undeniable. And if you don't play that game and you want to be the honest politician, then what they're going to do, they're going to use your honesty against you. Like, for example, there's a politician right now in the United States. His name is Ramachandra. I don't know. Sounds like a Indian god. Ramachandra. I don't know. Sounds like a cult leader, actually. Though he was actually a cult leader. And so he said that most of the things that he did in his life were to to help himself. Like he did charity when he was a kid to build up his college resume, right? And he said he reviews that because most politicians say that they do things because they're unselfish, because they're doing it for the greater good, right? And he's like, I want to be a difference and show you guys that a good politician can still do things and admit that they have selfish intent. So you know what happened when he did that? People who don't like him are saying, oh, well, you're a selfish person. You said yourself, you do things for selfish reasons. And he's like, well, I'm doing it because everyone else does it. He's like, well, I don't do that. So it's kind of like, it's so dirty. It's such a dirty game. You can't admit that. You can't admit that you have normal selfish tendencies. You can't admit that you've done wrong. Like, it's fucking crazy, man. Because when you do it, these people, the dishonest ones, will then use your honesty and create an image about you that you're an evil person. But they then cloak themselves by being the one that's exposing the dishonest person, right? So that's why it's unfortunate. And that's why you guys have to play this game. And if you don't, then you're gonna leave your public image to the eye. I mean, you're gonna leave that ability for someone else, so for someone else to form your public image, if that makes any sense. Right? So something that you're gonna struggle with after you're done with this seminar is that the things that I talked about yesterday, you're gonna forget to do. That's the problem. You're gonna forget it.
Do we get recording?
You can record it. Yeah, I'm gonna send you guys a complete recording of it. It's gonna take like a week or two, maybe less. But you're gonna forget everything that I said. And it's gonna sound nice now, but when life happens and distractions happen, you're gonna forget everything that I said and go back to your normal way of doing it. And you're gonna gain the satisfaction of knowing these strategies, and you're like, oh wow, that's so interesting. But you're never gonna really do it. I know that because that's how people are, right? And I'm hoping that me saying this will maybe perk up your ego and say, you know what, I don't wanna be that person. Because these strategies do work. And the path to charisma is not really about being the most funny person. It's just about public image. It's funny how that works, right? Because when you think of charisma, you think of some quality that's like, oh, he's so interesting, he's so funny. But it's really more about image manipulation. Like we all have an image that we have into the world. We are all actors in the stage of life. And if you want to deny that, and you don't want to accept that and use that to your advantage, then somebody else is going to make you into an NPC, a non-playable character, and you're just going to be a role player in this whole situation. The ones that are able to craft their image like it's an art, like an art piece, are the ones that are going to be able, who are people going to call charismatic, interesting, alluring, mysterious. All of those qualities we all can attain. And when you attain that, it comes with influence. People want to hire you. People want to work with you. It lifts you up. So yeah. Hello. Yeah. Come in. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions about yesterday? By the way, any questions?
From yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you spoke about distance, which is a major factor in creating charisma. And then you brought up the example of Barack Obama, which I thought was a really good one because the whole world knew him, and even we're not from the US, so it relates to us as well. So his charisma also came from becoming more relatable. So from narrowing the distance. So I understand that distance creates charisma, yes, but especially for women in relationships, can there be too much distance? Because personally, if I sort of feel that, like with a man, for example, distance becomes too great, my tendency would be to simply accept it and then I lose the interest.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of why you're interested in someone is also because you think that perhaps they may be vaguely interested in you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was curious about your comment because distance is a big issue also in your videos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're asking how does distance relate to relationships?
Yeah.
Healthy relationships.
There can be too much distance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could look at the opposite, right? What happened when we didn't have distance during the pandemic, right? We could look at the opposite effects and maybe like through logical, I forgot what that phrase is when you logically reverse it. I don't know. But through that, maybe we could find out the opposite of it. So what happened? A lot of people broke up because they were in the home all day talking. They got tired of each other. There wasn't distance. So what naturally happened? I got a lot of work. I'm like, oh my God, we need another pandemic, man. Hurry up. Like this was I know, so fucked up. This was crazy, man. How much work I had during that time, man. It was. I was like, I gotta take a break, guys. And the reason why is because people were just around each other too much. They could not have stopped seeing each other. They were bored. On top of that, emotionally drained. Maybe emotionally unhealthy because we weren't going out. So it wasn't just the fact that we weren't giving each other distance. There were other factors. But if we could imagine that that's not good enough distance. That's like a bad healthy of undistance. I don't know if that's even a word. Then we could imagine that maybe the opposite is where you and the person have their own lives. Like where you have things to do where they're not around you all the time. Clearly you can't make permanent distance. I mean, that's obvious. But I think the key to this type of distance that I'm talking about is literal distance from time to time. Doing things without them. Going on vacation without them sometimes. I don't know if that's proper for you guys, but going on vacation with your boys or with your girls. Having activities that you don't let them participate in because you just want to do it. And if it offends them, then okay, I mean, it offends you, but you'll get over it. You know, like I think, in my opinion, those are healthy distances. Like, I think it's required. And if the man does not want you to have that distance, he wants to possess all of your time, then, I mean, I don't think that's good, you know? So it's not about pushing them away. It's just about having a healthy level. And what that is depends on each person. Like, I can't tell you what's a healthy level of distance, but I could tell you what's an unhealthy level of non-distance. It's not even a word, right? Closeness, there you go. I don't know. Proximity, there you go. Too much proximity. Too much proximity is not good, but after that, the amount of distance just depends on each other, and you have to you have to experiment. And some of us don't even experiment. Some of us, we feel so anxious at being away from our partners that we can't create that because we feel like we're risking losing them. You know, so we're gonna talk about how to create that self-assuredness, how to create that self-love, because it's really just lack of self-love. But you have to risk losing them. And it comes down to just creating distance, you know? And a big part also is saying that to them. A lot of us will not say that to them. A lot of us will be afraid to say, I want distance. We naturally, some of us, at least me, I don't like to offend people. At least me, I tend to be a little bit of a people pleaser. So I have a hard time saying, hey, yo, you know, you need to go. Like, I gotta just rest by myself, looking at the ceiling. Like get out, you know? So it's hard for people who have a natural disposition to be nice, to express that. And that actually sabotages the relationship, because then they complain about the fact that they don't have enough distance, when they were the ones wanting this closeness. People are twisted like that. But when it comes to like having an audience, like an employee, or even fans, right? Or even people who follow you, you have to have some distance. Because the closer they get to you, the less they see the mysticism, the less they see the charisma. The closer they get, the less the charisma lessens, but also the more they actually get to know you. And that's totally fine, right? But like I said, when somebody really gets to know you, they don't really listen. Not that they listen, but it's almost like when you have your friend, someone's like knowing, like my friends, right? They're like, they follow you, Alexis? I'm like, yeah. Like, they listen to what you say? I'm like, yeah. They're like, dude, you're just Alexis. I'm like, I know. But they see me differently. They have there's this aura of charisma behind the things that I say, right? So that closeness is great for developing a relationship, but that closeness is not good for creating that illusion of charisma. Right? So this does not apply to close relationships. Now, you could create the charisma through you as a woman having masculine traits. That's possible. You as a woman and as a man, feminine traits in the opposite direction. You as a woman having your own independence, being willing to walk away, developing self-love, it naturally creates a natural distance because you're not so hung up on them, right? But the distance that we talked about yesterday, about having symbols around him, Now you could do the whole simple thing where you had, actually what's beautiful is that whole, like, I'm going out Friday night and I'm gonna have that Cinderella effect. That actually really does work, where you dress normal, but then once a week you dress and you just pop out of nowhere. That's beautiful, that's incredible, that's great, that's contrast, that's a difference, right? But it just comes down to undulating it, where you either dress super feminine all the time, and then from time to time you dress masculine, or you dress down all the time, but then from time to time you spark it up a bit. The point is to find that balance and switch it up from time to time, because men are visual, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's not just about the yesterday part does not apply to closeness. That's very important, because then a lot of people would just like, it would just ruin relationships if you go too much with what I said yesterday.
I've asked a question.
What's up?
What's the balance if you're an influencer on social media? What's the balance between like sharing your personal life and then having not like too much closeness with your fans or followers, and then what's the balance with like separating them?
Okay, so the balance between your personal life and having a social influence and the people follow you.
You want people to also, right? You want people to be able to know you on some type of personal level.
Yeah.
So they have something to relate to you.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it is a balance, right? Like, how much should I share? Like the mystery aspect of it. You know, I don't think there's a right answer to that, because I've seen so many YouTubers who you only know their names, or you just know a fake name of theirs. But in my opinion, I don't think it's ever changed the way I like listen to them. All I know is that in sports, the access to see the personal lives of athletes causes us to not see them as like godlike. It kind of demystifies their godlike aura. That's why people have to understand, one of the reasons why Jordan is still so relevant is the fact that he's hardly around. You rarely see Jordan. You rarely see him in the streets. You rarely see him do interviews. Even Michael Jackson, when he was alive, you rarely saw him do interviews. And he had this mysticism, this like presence about him. It was because of you didn't know so much about him. And so your mind then like fills in the gaps. And that filling of the gap, trying to find out how he is, his personality, or where does he come from, or how did he get so good, without knowing the backstory, it's what creates that awestruck when you see him in person. Like that awestruck is the accumulation of all of those unknown things, of all of those gaps that you don't know, creates that like, oh my Lord, it's him, you know? And if I was a celebrity, like a big celebrity, I wouldn't have Instagram. I mean, it's like, yeah, you do gain in terms of exposure, you know, but you do lose in terms of charisma. Like the celebrities that don't have Instagram, they're more mysterious. They may not have the most advertisement, but I could promise you they're more interesting, because you're like, what is he doing? Interesting. Like they're not as human in our minds. They're more non-human. And when I say non-human, it's more so like amongst the gods. They have more of an aura, you know? And that aura comes from not knowing. It's the notness than the knowing of it, you know? But we overshare too much, you know? We overshare. It is one thing good that I did with my YouTube is not to give my name all the time, Delexis, but they call me Alex. But I'm like, there's another Delexis out there that's a fitness coach. I'm like, I want them to find that dude, not me. Does that make sense? Kind of, yeah. It just depends, bro. I would prefer not to say everything about you, you know, and keep some things private. Like people don't know I had girlfriends. I don't say it. I had girlfriends, and I just don't say it on YouTube. You know, some things not everyone should know. You know. Then they're like, "Oh, where's his girlfriend?" Well, she's chilling, bro. Like I don't, you know, like she's relaxing. She's somewhere there, you know, watching the videos, making sure I don't say the wrong things, which is many. Any other questions about yesterday? Just to make sure. Okay. Good. So like I said, you guys are the hardest part about this is that some of your compulsions, because it is true, some of your natural personality traits are gonna get in the way of this. It might be your oversharing. It might be that you might talk too much. It might be the way you react to anxiety, It might be that you think you are one way when in reality you're not, and people might see the complete opposite. Your lack of awareness of how you come across will create problems when it comes to applying things that I talked about yesterday. So you're gonna have to create some awareness of it, and that is not easy, because when you become aware, what naturally happens is that you feel like shit. You feel like you might even feel embarrassed. Like it's never like a happy moment. Like, oh my God, I'm a fucking weirdo. Oh Lord, thank you. No, you're like, oh my God, oh Lord, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you in the past. Like you start like looking like you just came out of AA, man. Like it's never a good feeling when you realize the mistakes that you made. It really isn't. It could be very depressing. So you got to work on finding out how does insecurity manifest itself in you, because a lot of times, most likely, if we're really insecure, we're not going to admit it to ourselves we're insecure. I'm telling you, you're going to think you're more confident than you really are. That's just how it is. And you'll notice, because in your life, the confidence that you think you feel, people don't like you as much as you think you should be liked. Like that just shows you that there is a chasm. They're doing something wrong. And a lot of the times, we're not going to assume that we're doing something wrong. We're going to think that they're just assholes. When in reality, we are the one that's causing it. It's the craziest thing on the planet. You think the asshole you see in the corner thinks he's an asshole? He doesn't. He thinks you're the asshole. With complete conviction. And honestly, that is the hardest part, is realizing your flaws, realizing where you're the one that's causing the miscommunications, the problems, because at the end of the day, it is miscommunication. That's all it is. So I'll tell you what I told you yesterday, and then you'll go wherever you go, and you'll just completely forget to do it. What's up?
Yeah, so just a question about yesterday, if you don't mind. So after yesterday, I reflected on what you were saying. And like personally, I have an interest in politics, right? So when I went home, I Googled the world's most influential female politicians, the world's most charismatic female politicians. And I found people like, Angela Merkel, then there was Ellen Johnson, who I completely forgot, she was the first female African leader.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
wow.
Of Liberia, and then Michelle Obama. Then I thought, is it just a matter of copying their dress sense and looking like them, or is it more complex than that?
I mean, a big part is the image, the external image, what you see.
Yeah.
There's an archetype. There's an archetype that's already been successful. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like all of these spiritual gurus, they all look the same. Like they're all the long beard, it's like a uniform. If you want to be respected as a cop, what do? You dress like a cop. If you want to be respected as a pilot, you dress like a pilot. If you want to be respected as a spiritual guru, dress like a spiritual guru. Like that's a crazy part. It's all in uniform, people. Find your uniform and dress like a uniform.
I thought to myself, there's nothing new under the sun. It must just be about other people.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so you look, or you just look for combinations. Oh, I like the way he does this. I like that, and like that. I like that. And then you create an image based on different images that worked. The point is, don't reinvent the wheel, because then, you could come up with new shit, but most likely you won't. You know. So just reinvent it and just build it up, build it on yourself. And we just don't put thought into that. It's as simple as that, people. It really is not that difficult. When you think of anyone who you like, who has a unique style, who has a charisma about them, and look at it from the lens of yesterday's talk, you'll be like, oh, that's why I like them. Oh, that's why they're so interesting. Like, you'll see it. The problem is that when we're experiencing that phenomenon of somebody who's highly influential, we're so enamored by their influence that we're not thinking straight. We're just like, oh my God, they're so interesting. We're not saying, oh, he's wearing that, he's wearing that. We're not thinking logically, because we're thinking irrationally, because it's all irrational. It's not meant to make sense. So this causes a projection where you stop seeing reality and you're just seeing like like your emotions in a person. Like, I don't know how to explain it, you know? So they're not gonna catch on. They're not gonna be like, oh, she's got that Hillary Clinton vibe. She's doing that, you know. She's got that Obama thing too. She's a combination. Like they're not gonna think that. They're just gonna be like, oh wow, that's interesting. They're just gonna take in the whole image rather than breaking it down into steps. That's what I would do. I'd be like, oh, look at that. That's that, like, Obama archetype. That's interesting. Like, for example, you guys know who, for like a lot of leaders in the United States, who are pro-black, they give off this Martin Luther King. They give off they'll look like Malcolm X, where they'll get the glasses, like they'll give off that Malcolm X vibe. They'll dress like Malcolm X. There's even this like white guy they call him Talcum X, because he's light skinned, but looks like Malcolm X. You heard of him, right? Yeah, but it works. It works, and people follow it. Right? So you just have to become that symbol, a visual symbol, and you'll just, like magic, people will begin to like follow it.
You never become like a wannabe. You never become like a wannabe, like a copycat.
I mean,
People see it like that.
no, the problem is that people assume you are who you present to be. Maybe your friends who saw the transformation. Like, you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, why you looking like Malcolm X now?
Yeah.
Right? Like, they were like, oh. But like I said yesterday, they're not the people you're trying to recruit.
Yeah.
Like, so you're gonna get people who are gonna be like, oh, what the fuck are you doing now? Now you look like Jesus? like now you're Jesus? Why are you calling yourself Jesus? So then they'll stop being your friends. But then, like Melissa would just think you're Jesus, you know? Like, it's so it's kind of like, it comes with a sacrifice, right? That's why it's better for it to come from yourself, right? Because then it'll be gradual. People will notice it, but they'll be like, well, that's kind of like him. He is kind of like that. You know, so it won't be such a drastic change as opposed to, unless you want to move to another state and just change the way you look drastically, which people do that too. They start new in a new place and they change their image and people treat them differently, right? So, you know, that's a big one, is that you gotta be okay with some people being a little uncomfortable with your new image per se, but you have to almost like keep in mind that this is just a public image. Like all of these celebrities, once they're done, they're like, oh fuck, let me remove the makeup on. They're like, oh, that was a long day, man. You know, Michael Jackson could, like, he may have talked, people have a joke where they say, he talks like this, but when he comes home, he's like, man, that was tough. Oh my God, that was tough. I'm like, what the fuck, Michael? That's how you talk? I'm like, oh, sorry about that. Like, it could be true, right? You know that lady Holmes, the lady who like, the fake Steve Jobs lady?
Okay. Isabel Holmes.
Huh? Elizabeth Holmes.
Talking about yesterday.
She's a psychopath.
Oh yeah. I mean, she does the no blinking shit.
Blink,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then she talks in like a deeper voice on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, the deeper voice thing is that deeper voices are just interpreted as more competent. You see, that's psychopathic level right there. Okay, we're not talking about that, but that's an extreme version of this, where she was able to scam for billions. I mean, that's how crazy this whole game is, where you could take it to that extreme. And she understood the game. See, that's the thing, is that she was evil enough to instinctively understand this, because she doesn't give a fuck about being fake. We do. We got some sense of, well, hopefully, right? Some of you guys were like, no. Like, we got some sense to like, not go too far with this, right? To keep it in line with who we are, right? So she understood it, and look what she was able to do. She understood that looking simple, that giving the image off, the way that she spoke, she had a complete understanding of human nature when it comes to the game of appearances. And she really wasn't charismatic. She just knew how to portray charisma.
So, do you believe that anybody can do that?
Yeah.
Maybe not to that level.
Not to that level. But
anybody can be
some level to that you could. But again, it's at a distance. Because when people get close and the image you have is too different, then, eventually it might, people might say, oh, he's not really like that in real life. But again, as long as you don't take that image seriously, as long as you don't take it like, you're like, yes I am. Then like, you'd be like, no, of course, it's just an image, bro. Like, it's just an image. You don't take it seriously. It's like an LLC in the United States. It's like a what do you call that, LLC? But it's like an entity. Yeah, it's like an entity. They can't sue you. They can only sue the corporation. This is like a corporate version. Your public, yeah, a public representative.
The PR of yourself.
Exactly, like an exaggerated version of you, or even a tailored version to get an effect. But you don't take it personal, because once you start taking it personal, then you're walking in the lines of psychopathy, right? You gotta just be happy about it, laugh about it. If somebody wants to make fun of it, just be like, oh, it's just amongst you guys. Or like if you're a boss, they'll be like, oh, you're such an asshole. In your mind, you're like, well, I'm just playing a game with you, man. I'm just your boss, bro. Like you sit them apart, you're like, look, bro, I'm not trying to be an asshole to you. I just cannot be serious with you all the time. I gotta be serious with you. I'm just your boss, So let's just go with it. You get what I'm saying? Like you gotta be able to let this go. You can't just hold on to it. You're like, oh, that's how I really am. Or else it's just not that good. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's actually very important. You can't take this too seriously. At least the first part. But this part that we're going to talk about is once they get close, right? Once they get close, how to project the charisma. And this type of charisma is not a charisma of a certain personality trait you don't possess. We're not trying to give you a new personality trait. We're not trying to make you act any other different. What we're trying to do is allow you to act how you really are from within you. Who you were as a child, who you were when you weren't self-conscious of what other people thought of you, who you were before you got traumatized by life. That's almost everyone. Because when you were a child, you were completely yourself. You were your most charming. And there was a certain level of charisma that unrepressed nature of your childlike self emanated. And that's what we're gonna be tapping into today. There's nothing fake about this. And I think that this part is, in my opinion, the best part, all right? So we're gonna take like a quick 2-minute break, because we've been talking for 30 minutes, and we're gonna begin with that. Hey, thank you for watching the whole video. Man, you really must have liked it if you watched all the way to the end. So click in the description down below, check it out. You guys gonna have a 14-day money back guarantee if you guys don't like it. 6-hour course, 5 to 6 hour course. Most likely it's not complete. I may add some more information because I always add new stuff to my courses throughout the years. But it's a course. Look, man, if you're somebody that has a job, if you're an employee, an employer, if you're a teacher, if you work any type of working with people, you need to know how to project some form of charisma, because that's where people will see you with a higher level of respect. That's just how life is. So if you guys want to create that effect without being fake, or if you want to do that and create some superficial forms of charisma for a temporary solution, then you can check out the course, click on the description down below, and I'll see you guys inside. Thank you.